Welcome to the January edition of Ask the Athletic Director. I'm Andy MacWilliams, and with me is Greg Christopher. Greg, our first get-together of 2014.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Yeah.
Same to you. But Xavier is now, the Xavier men's basketball program has played 15 games at the time of this taping, a 12-3 record, a 10-3 non-conference, and a 2-0 start in the Big East. I'm sort of setting you up here, I guess. This is a real softball, but the athletic director's report card so far on men's basketball.
Well, other than the hiccup in the Bahamas, which was a great trip except for the 3 games, and the Iowa game, certainly we went toe-to-toe. They seem to be off and running in the Big East, but you got to take it game by game, obviously. I'm going to get into coach speak here. But, you know, much like I think I've heard going into this season, one of the common themes I heard from fans and our coaches was how much the team improved over the course of last year. And you're seeing that, I think, this year as well. You know, week by week, you know, the team seems to fine-tune itself a little bit more. So that's positive, and there's a long way to go, though. I had one of our staff members said something after the last game here, the Butler game. If we're going to have every Big East game like this, it's going to be exhausting. You know, it's going to be brutal going through all 18 Big East games if they're going to be this competitive. But that's what makes the Big East great.
Reflecting a bit on the non-conference schedule, and I'm an old school guy,
Yep.
The mythical Miami Valley Conference, Dayton, Xavier, Miami, University of Cincinnati. It seems to be, the concept seems to be slipping away from us a little bit in that, well, this year Xavier's not going to play Dayton at all, and Miami is not an every year event now. And there are a lot of complications, a lot of
Right.
reasons or whatever. But would there be any way of putting something together, and I was talking to some fans after the Butler game, to put more of a spotlight on college basketball earlier in the year and serving this mythical Miami Valley Conference idea also? Some kind of doubleheader or showcase. You
know, your idea right there is actually something we have talked about and put overtures out to some of the area schools within an hour, and you can put together the names, you know, as you said there. Bottom line is there hasn't been interest, because I love that idea, the concept of a doubleheader somewhere very early in the season, because you can't do another exempt tournament, as you said earlier. But it would be a lot of fun to do it. Yeah, we could spend half an hour talking about just the Miami Valley teams right here, and for one reason or another, things seem to be, you know, shifting with time.
We're a little bit more than 2 months away from the new Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden, and there is a bit of a deadline here. Xavier is selling all session tickets to Xavier fans, and there's some advantages to getting your tickets now through Xavier vis-a-vis waiting for a public sale through Madison Square Garden or wherever.
You're right, Andy. Our deadline's January 15th, I believe, and after that, we need to turn any tickets we haven't sold back into Madison Square Garden, and then they become the broker, essentially. So, you know, the pricing for the tickets the same, the fees will go up, and then certainly on January 15th, we'll start setting in motion some of our New York events. So if fans want to be a part of some of the Xavier-specific events, they need to get on board now. And we've sold a nice number of tickets. We still have plenty left. Then the final piece I would say is, if you want the best seats, now would be the time to act too, because once they get sent back to Madison Square Garden and brokered through that way, those best seats will probably not be available for Xavier fans.
You can guarantee Xavier fans sitting together and lower level tickets if they purchase by January 15th.
Yes, yep. So we're excited, and it should be great atmosphere and something to be a part of.
That's certainly, you know, conference tournaments are great. They're exciting. And I wasn't a great fan of Atlantic City. I am of Madison Square Garden and New York City. Great venue, and you know, you don't have to go to every game necessarily, but in New York, in Midtown Manhattan, there's so many other things to do to augment the baskall experience. I mean, I'm a basketball nut. I'll be there for, you know, the first games on Tuesday right through Saturday, but other people may want to serve other masters.
Plenty to do, and when I lived on the East Coast, I went to the Big East tournament a couple of times, and it is, for the basketball junkie, it's a special event.
I think all Xavier fans, people who come to Cintas, have noticed the development of University Station, and it's been going up very quickly at the corner of Montgomery and Dana. A lot of construction. They're working hard. How is this going to affect? I mean, there's going to be student housing there and that type of thing, but for those who come to Xavier games, fans and followers, what's going to be available? How will that affect their experience in coming to campus?
I think the number is close to $60 million in development that's going up there, and what a great addition to campus. And you're right, it's amazing how fast it's moving, Andy. Once it's up and running and completely full, everything that runs along Montgomery there is going to be retail. The bookstore will be at the corner, and then starting to wrap its way toward Dana will be various retail outlets. I know there's going to be a Starbucks there. I know that obviously the bookstore will be there, and then they've got placeholders for 2 or 3 restaurants. And I've heard some names floating around, but I don't know that anything's finalized yet. But the bottom line is, yes, there's going to be more restaurants or more food and beverage opportunities very close to the Cintas Center.
The fall athletic seasons obviously have wrapped up, and I hear the volleyball team got some pretty prestigious honors.
You know, we had some nice seasons in the fall from especially our men's soccer team, and then our volleyball team. Women's cross country had a nice finish. And then obviously Brian Neal got his first Big East win just yesterday against St. John's. So all in all, you know, to go back to use your phrase, report card, you know, I think it's been a solid fall and into the winter so far for our Xavier teams.
And there are other things going on with Xavier student athletes, a lot of community projects. I know Landon Amos has a personal deal going on the basketball side, but there are other community projects that are pretty interesting.
You know, the things, Andy, that don't get talked a lot about, you know, because everybody gets focused on the wins and losses, rightly so. I mean, we're competitively wired, but it's the academic side of the house for our student athletes, and then it is the service side. All 18 of our sports do some level of service, and then oftentimes the student athlete council, the collective group, they do their own community service. All told last year, it was close to 1,000 hours of community service that the 18 sports put in collectively. So the impact that our student athletes have off the court or off the field is just as great as what they're doing for Xavier on the court.
You had a chance as an athletic director to observe the first Xavier Athletic Hall of Fame ceremony, and I was there. Mike Davenport from class of 91 was inducted, a basketball guy that I know well and certainly well-deserved. He was a 4-year guy who improved every year and sort of the epitome of what Xavier basketball is all about. But your thoughts overall on the Athletic Hall of Fame, its role, and you know, how it fits in? Well,
really, when you think about it, Andy, that's the legacy that you want to be talking about, and that's one of our most fun events, so to speak, every year. So you can look forward to a Hall of Fame every year. You know, obviously we'll tie it into a men's basketball game where there's the greatest platform for visibility. And when you hear those stories, whether it was the Hall of Fame event or, for example, the football reunion that was just a few weeks ago, again, those are some of the best moments if you work in athletics, because you get to hear the stories and the memories of those former players when they get back together. Now, sometimes their success stories get a little bit bigger and than what they were, but still, that's the fun part of it. So we are going to resurrect the Hall of Fame, and it'll be an every year event, and then we'll do it every fall. And Tom Iser from our staff will be the point person in making sure that happens.
As we tape this, 2 Big East games down, 16 to go, all 9 road games. Are you going to be able to handle this, do you think?
Of course. I mean, this is what we do.
It should be fun, and be sure to join us next month when Greg and I will get together. And if you have any questions, be sure to email Tom Iser and let us know, because we want to be responsive to what you want to talk about.